Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udhirayet Srinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hridantasto hi abhadrani vidunnoti suhusatam nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama sloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in classes on Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to pure devotee, all that is troublesome to heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service onto the personality of Godhead, whose praise with transcendental songs is established as an irrevocable fact. So we are in Canto 8, Withdrawal of the Cosmic Creations. Chapter 3, Gajendra's Prayers of Surrender, text 25. Victor Prabhu. Mata is saying something about the recording. Is it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Text 20. So, Canto 8, Chapter 3, Text 25. Jijivishe naham ihamoya kim. Naham ihamoya kim. Jijivise naham ihamoya kim. Naham ihamoya kim. Antarbahischa vrate bhayonya. Antarbahischa vrataye bhayonya. Antarbahischa vrataye bhayonya. Ahischa vrataye bhayonya. Ichhami kalena yasya viplavas. Amikalena yasya viplavas. Ichhami kalena yasya viplavas. Mikalena yasya viplavas tasyatmaloka varnasya moksham. Atmaloka varnasya moksham. Tasyatmaloka varnasya moksham. Atmaloka varnasya moksham. Jijivisenaham ihamoya kim. Visenaham ihamoya kim. Antarbahischa vrataye bhayonya. Antarbahischa vrataye bhayonya. Ichhami kalena yasya viplavas. Amikalena yasya viplavas. Tasyatmaloka varnasya moksham. Atmaloka varnasya moksham. Jijivishenaham ihamoya kim. Antarbahischa vrataye bhayonya. Ichchami kalena yasya viplava tasyatma loka varnasya mokhyam jijivishenaham ihamuya kim antarbahischa vrataye bhayonya ichchami kalena yasya viplavas tasyatma loka varnasya moksham jijivishenaham ihamuya kim antarbahischa vrataye bhayonya ichchami kalena yasya viplavas irokshakma loka varnasya moksham. Any Matajis? Jijivishenaham ihamuya kim antarbahischa vrate bhamonya ichchami kalena yasya viplavas tasyatma loka varnasya moksham. Jijivishenaham ihamuya kim antarbahischa vrate bhayonya ichchami kalena yasya viplava tasyatma loka varnasya moksham. Very sweet. Thank you. Yeah. Word to word meaning and translation purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jijivishe, wish to live long. Na, not. Aham, I. Iha, in this life. Amuya, or in the next life. I do not wish to live upon being saved from this dangerous position. Kim, what is the value? Antaha, internally. Bahihi, externally. Cha, and. Avrutaya, covered by ignorance. Ibayonya, in this birth as an elephant. Ichchami, I desire. Kalena, because of the influence of time. Na, there is not. Yasya, of which. Viplavaha, annihilation. Tasya, that. Atmaloka avarnasya, from the covering of self-realization. Moksham, liberation. Translation: I do not wish to live anymore. Yeah, please respond. I do not wish to live anymore. How many of you are saying that? Truly from the heart. I do not wish to live anymore after I am released from the attack of the crocodile. What is the use of an elephant's body covered externally and internally by ignorance? What is the use of my body covered externally and internally by ignorance. I simply desire eternal liberation from the covering of ignorance. That covering is not destroyed by the influence of time. That's interesting, isn't it? That covering is not destroyed by the influence of time. Normally we hear, नहीं अभी बच्चा है, this is a small boy. वो जब बड़ा होता है तो खुद ब खुद सीख लेगा. By himself he'll learn automatically. But here the verse says that covering, that ignorance is not destroyed by the influence of time. Just because one experiences pain in life does not mean that the person gets the knowledge. The pain will there, and then the pain recurs life after life, or in this lifetime itself it happens so many times, but yet the knowledge does not dawn. The knowledge dawns only when Prabhupada gives the answer, Om Ajnana Timirandasya, so we'll go there. Purport. In this material world, every living entity is covered by the darkness of ignorance. So when Prabhupada says every living entity is covered by darkness of ignorance, so therefore that includes us as well, that includes me as well, that includes everyone. Therefore, the Vedas enjoin that one should approach the Supreme Lord through the spiritual master, who is described and offered prayers in the Gautamiya Tantra as follows. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto my spiritual master, who with the torchlight of knowledge has opened my eyes, which were blinded by the darkness of ignorance. Although one may struggle for existence in the material world, to live forever is impossible. One must understand, however, that this struggle for existence is due to ignorance, for otherwise every living being is an eternal part of the Supreme Lord. There's no need to live as an elephant or man, American or Indian. One should desire only to achieve liberation from the cycle of birth and death. Because of ignorance, we consider every life offered by nature to be happy and pleasing. But in the degraded life within this material world, from the life of Lord Brahma down to that of an ant, no one can actually be happy. We are making so many plans to live happily, but there cannot be any happiness in this material world. However, we may try to make a permanent settlement in this life or that. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has the form of Sachitananda Vigraha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Him who turned the dumb into eloquent speakers and enables the lame to cross the mountain. Such is the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Translation once again. I do not wish to live anymore after I am released from the attack of the crocodile. What is the use of an elephant's body covered externally and internally by ignorance? I simply desire eternal liberation from the covering of ignorance. That covering is not destroyed by the influence of time. So to bring us into the context, we know that a fight has been going on between the most powerful animal of the land and the powerful animal of the sea, that is the Makara and the Gajendra, Indra of the elephant, the powerful elephant. And this fight has been going on for how many years? 1,000 years. And a point has come where Gajendra, although very powerful, is about to lose the battle. Why is it? Because there is a saying in the local language, Tana balamu kana sthana balamu goppadira vishwadhabhirama vinuravema. That Vemana was a famous poet or a philosopher in Andhra, and who said that Tana balamu kana sthana balamu goppadi, that the Tana balamu, that's my strength, but more than my strength, the sthana balam, the place of location is more powerful. So therefore, here we find, although Gajendra is such a powerful animal, but he is powerful only on the land, not powerful on the water. Whereas Makara, the crocodile, is very powerful in the water, and the battle is taking place in the water. So obviously, the elephant is losing gradually the strength as he is bleeding profusely. And is bleeding not 1 day, 2 days, but for 1,000 years he is bleeding, and without food, without eating, is battling with the enemy, crocodile, Makara. Whereas Makara is in its natural environment and relishing the blood of elephant and fighting. So therefore, while elephant is losing his strength, crocodile is gaining strength because he or she, Makara, is getting continuously nurtured with the blood of the elephant. And therefore we find at this stage, Gajendra is offering prayers. He finds that there's no other recourse to him other than praying to the Supreme Lord. And it's interesting to note that Gajendra was reminded of the prayers not from this life, because in this life he is an elephant. He is reminded of the prayers from his previous life. So therefore, a flashback is given to us. And what was the flashback? In the previous life, Gajendra was Indradumna, a king. And after discharging his kingly duties, according to the Vedic culture, he was to retire. So therefore, he retired to a forest and he was performing his devotional activity. And as part of it, he has learned many prayers. And therefore, we have a lesson for us to learn. How many of you know some prayers apart from Hare Krishna? Yeah. What prayers you know? Gajendra prayers? All the prayers? Wow, Jai. Anyone else? Because we have so many prayers in it. Kunti Devi prayers, Gajendra prayers, Dhruva Maharaj prayers, then Lord Brahma's prayers, Lord Shiva's prayers, Prahlad Maharaj prayers, Brahma Samhita prayers. There are so many prayers given to us by Acharyas. And here Gajendra is remembering the prayers from his previous lifetime. So that means that whatever we are going to learn in this lifetime, in the form of prayers is not forgotten by us. It will be remembered by us not only in this lifetime, but also in the future, the next birth. Unlike the bank credit, we have millions of dollars in this lifetime, but that is not carried forward to the next life. But the devotional activity is being carried forward. Not only that, when we learn the prayers, we can stand in front of Radha Vallabha, Gaur Nitai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maiya, and offer them the prayers. Otherwise, we say that, well, I've been to temple. How long have you been to temple? 5 hours. But what did we do in the temple? Hardly stood for 2 to 3 minutes in front of the deities, and then the rest of the time you spent outside the deities, outside the temple room. But at least if we know the prayers, we can stand in front of the Lord and then offer our prayers, heartfelt prayers. And in the process, one can develop a relationship with the Lord. So it's important that every one of us should memorize at least one prayer. And this we can take it as a lesson from today's session, because Gajendra is remembering the prayers, what he has learned in his previous life. And it's not late for any of us, including Mahatma Prabhu, to learn the prayers. If you do not know at least one prayer, whether it is Dhruva Maharaj prayers or Bhakta Prahlad Maharaj prayers or Brahma Samhita prayers. I think it's easy to learn Brahma Samhita prayers, and therefore one should make an attempt to learn Brahma Samhita prayers. Can we take that as our nistha or as a sankalpa that we are going to learn one prayer? So next time when we meet again, maybe in a month's time, because I get my cycle roster in a month's time, I'll ask the same question. How many of us have learned at least one prayer from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam? Because there are so many wonderful personalities in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam who recite the prayers. And it's important that we learn the prayers and offer these prayers heartfully, standing in front of the deities. Yes? Okay. So therefore, Indradyumna Maharaj, he was performing his devotional activity, but it so happened that one day Agastya came. And Agastya is a rishi, a great sage. And he felt dishonored when Indradyumna did not offer him respect. And therefore, he cursed him. And because of the curse, he becomes Gajendra. But we should remember that any of the curses delivered by these sages have got an ultimate benefit to the recipient. Thank you, Prabhu. So therefore, Gajendra, although in one lifetime Indradyumna becomes the Gajendra, and then he is returning back home, back to Godhead. We see that at the end of this pastime, that he receives this Arupya, he receives the same form as of the Lord. And equally, we find that King Uhuhu, he was the Gandharva, he was the king on the Gandharva planet, and he was also sporting with the opposite sex in water, and in the process, there was a rishi called Devala. And Devala Rishi was hit, or this Gandharva hits him unknowingly. And Devala becomes equally angry at Uhuhu, and then he curses him to become Makara, or the crocodile. So therefore we find two curses. One curse to Indradyumna, who becomes the Gajendra, and then the second curse to Uhuhu, who becomes the Makara or the crocodile, and now they are waging a battle in water for the last 1,000 years. And elephant or Gajendra makes every effort to fight on his own strength because he's a very powerful animal. And among the elephants also is very powerful. Gaja Indra is the king. And he was fighting and continuously losing the battle because he was losing strength. He was profusely bleeding. I think a point came where he was not able to do by himself continue to fight with Makara. And we find elsewhere also, when a person loses almost the strength to fight on one's own self, then they pray to the Lord. And typical example is taken is about Mother Draupadi. When she was about to be disrobed completely in Kaurava, you can say the palace, then she prays to Krishna. The typical prayer we find, I was trying to see what the prayer was by Mother Draupadi. She says, Govinda Dwaraka Vasin Krishna Gopi Jana Priya Kauravai Paribhutam Mam Kimna Janasi Keshava He Nata He Ramanatha Vrajanatharti Nasana Kairvarnava Bhagnam Mam Udharasya Janardhana Krishna Krishna Mahayogin Vishwatman Vishwabhavana Prapannam Pahi Govinda Kurumadhye Vasidatim. O Govinda, O resident of Dwaraka, O Krishna, O friend of the gopis, do you not know I am being humiliated by the Kauravas? O Lord of Lakshmi, O Lord of Raja, O destroyer of affliction, save me. I am drowning in the ocean of the Kauravas. O Janardana, O Krishna, O best of yogis, O soul of the world, O origin of the world, please protect this surrendered soul. O Govinda, I am sinking in the midst of the Kurus. So this is the prayer offered by Mother Draupadi when she was about to be disrobed by Dushasana. And we also have the famous prayer, Pratigna Tava Govinda Name Bhakta Pranashyati. Anyone remembers when we do this? We have this prayer in the paraphernalia room. We call Aparadha Shodhana. That is, we pray whenever we do any service, there's a possibility that we commit. Why possibility? We commit offenses. So we pray to the Lord to forgive. And as part of that forgiveness, this verse is recited. Pratigna tava govinda name bhaktya pranashyati iti samasmritya prananan sandaryamiham. This is the verse which Mother Draupadi recites at the final time. O Govinda, your promise is that your devotee will never perish. By remembering this over and over again, I am able to retain my life heirs. So this is a prayer once again we can memorize so that even in good times or in turbulence times, one can recite this prayer to Lord Krishna or Radha Vallabha. So now we have, if you go through the prayers so far offered by Gajendra, to bring it to the context, we find that couple of prayers he has recited. In that 2-3 prayers, I'll take the English translation so that we understand what Gajendra is asking in this particular verse and why. Or what should we ask if we want to ask the Lord. So 8.3.8 to 9, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has no material birth, activities, name, form, qualities are false. To fulfill the purpose for which this material world is created and destroyed, he comes in the form of human being like Lord Rama or Lord Krishna by his original internal potency. So therefore, when the Lord appears in this material world, he comes in his own internal potency. Atma Maya, Sambhavami Atma Mayaya. In the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says. Although some schools of thought think that when the Lord appears, he takes the body of mode of goodness, so therefore they are not different from the Lord in that sense, because they are born in mode of ignorance. The Lord is born with the mode of goodness, so therefore when the ignorance disappears, they become the Lord. Then the 8.3.13, Gajendra says, I beg to offer my respectful obeisance unto you, who are the super soul, the superintendent of everything, and the witness of all that occurs. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Then 15, my Lord, you are the cause of all causes, but you yourself have no cause. Therefore, you are the wonderful cause of everything. Because it is you who can give liberation, you are the shelter for all transcendentalists. Because it is you who can give liberation, you are the only shelter for all transcendentalists. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto you. So therefore, Gajendra is praying that it is you who can give me liberation, not others. And therefore, what is he praying in this verse? He doesn't want anything. He wants that liberation which can deliver him from Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi. He is looking for the eternality, not for the temporary relief. He is not praying, please relieve me from my existing pain. Let me come out of this turbulence. Let me come out of this anguish or misery, and therefore I can go back once again and then resume my activities, sporting with my wives and then playing in water. That is not the prayer which Gajendra is offering. He says, please relieve me forever from this samsara, from this material world, because I want to return back home and serve you permanently, eternally. So I do not wish to live anymore after I am released from the attack of the crocodile. What is the use of an elephant's body covered externally and internally? So Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, on this verse, he gives a wonderful, normally whenever Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur gives a purport, he gives in the form of a dialogue. Thus you can see even in his purports on Bhagavad Gita, mostly it's a dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, and he tries to give that purport in the form of a dialogue, so that anything missing statement one can understand from that dialogue. So here is the dialogue. By these prayers, you desire to be freed from the crocodile. No, I do not desire to live, because what is the use of being born as an elephant covered by ignorance internally and externally? So he is not asking for relief from the pain. He says, well, I do not want to live itself. I do not, because this is not an eternal life. Then what do you desire? I desire freedom without destruction. I desire freedom without destruction, which means that I am desiring eternality. From the covering on persons like me, Atma Loka Avaranasya, which causes forgetfulness of the Lord by ignorance. Atma Loka Avaranasya, from the covering of self-realization. Or, I desire that the bolt on the door hiding Vaikunta, Atma Loka, be released. So that is the desire Gajendra is expressing, because that can be fulfilled by the Lord. It's not that, okay, you go to the Lord and then say once again, Dhanam Dehi, Putran Dehi, give me some wealth, give me children. That's not, because that can be obtained in the material world otherwise also. But what you can get from the Lord, no one else can give. That's what we need to ask. And that's what is the prayer by Gajendra. And Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is trying to bring to us that, to our understanding, that I desire that the bolt on the door hiding Vaikunta be released. So therefore, Gajendra is requesting release from the material world itself, and wants to serve the Lord eternally in his constitutional position. So why do we suffer? What is the root cause for this suffering in the material? Yes, Prabhu?
Forgetfulness of Krishna.
Yeah, forgetfulness of Krishna. And what is that called?
Ignorance.
Yeah, in Sanskrit? From Nectar of Devotion, we get the word avidya. The root cause for misery is the avidya, and that avidya is the forgetfulness of our position or our relationship with the Lord, that we are the eternal servants of the Lord, that Jivera Swarupa Hoy, Krishnera Nityadas. We have forgotten, and because of that forgetfulness, we experience the distress. So therefore, if you have done Bhakti Shastri, or if you have read Nectar of Devotion, in there you find in the Waves of Devotion by His Holiness Dhanodhara Swami Maharaj, he gives a beautiful chart. That it shows the is avidya. From avidya comes the, anyone remembers? From avidya he draws the line as bijam. From bijam comes to papam. From papam to aprarabdha karma. From the karma to kutam. And kutam once again comes to bijam. So therefore this cycle, and that aprarabdha karma becomes the prarabdha karma. So therefore the basic cause for the misery is the avidya, that ignorance. And that ignorance, we should come out of the ignorance. That's what we need to do in human life. And if that is not done, then we live with pride, we live with ignorance. Now the pride means that I remember a small storyline, because instead of totally dwelling into the philosophy, let's try to understand the concept of pride. The pride is such that it makes even a person who doesn't have anything feels as if he has everything. And he is the center in this world. So we say that Aidguru Bhattasarlu, that is 5 friends, they were traveling through the forest. And if you know their characteristic, what they are, one person does not have ears, by birth is a deaf person. The second person does not have eyes, from birth is buddhivad or blind. Third person doesn't have shoulders, no hands. By birth, that person doesn't have hands. The fourth person, by birth, doesn't have 2 legs, both the legs. So therefore, no eyes, no ears, no hands, no legs. And the fifth person, we call him as the Daridrudu. That is, he is by birth a beggar. He doesn't have anything, he doesn't own anything except that janga or this underwear, that too a torn underwear. Now these 5 guys are friends, they're traveling through the forest. And then suddenly they hear the decks of the horses. Dig, dig, dig. How do we say that? Anyway, horses are making noise from a distance. And the person says, the thieves are going across, so therefore we should be careful. And who is saying that the thieves are going? It's the person who is born deaf. He says that he can hear the noise of the horses moving, and therefore in a forest it must be a thief, so therefore the thieves are going there, let us be alert. And the second person says, yeah, I can see the dust everywhere. the horses are throwing dust everywhere. And who is the person who is saying that? Is the blind person who doesn't have eyes. That person is saying, I can see the dust is coming everywhere, so therefore it must be thieves only. And the third person says, what is the problem? We can run from here. And who is saying that? The person who doesn't have any legs. He says that, well, we can run away from here. What's the problem? And the fourth guy says, why worry? I can fight with them. And the guy who doesn't have two arms, he is saying that, well, I can fight with the guys and defeat them, so therefore don't worry. And the fifth person says that, take the decision very quickly, otherwise I'm going to lose my wealth. And the person who is a born beggar, who doesn't have anything on himself except the torn cloth he is wearing, he is saying, well, take some action. Either we run or we stay or we hide, we do something so that I don't lose my wealth. So this is what the pride makes a person think or do. Because although we don't have anything, we still think that we are the center of the focus in this world, and therefore accordingly we do the behavior. But whereas here Prabhupada is giving us the answer that in this material world, every living entity is covered by the darkness of ignorance. And that darkness of ignorance can be relieved by take shelter of a guru. And so therefore Prabhupada quotes, who is that one should approach the Supreme Lord through the spiritual master, who is described and offered prayers in the Gautamiya Tantra as follows. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. So I offer my respectful obeisances unto my spiritual master, who with the torchlight of knowledge has opened my eyes, which were blinded by the darkness of ignorance. So here, Om Ajnana Timirandasya. Ajnana is the ignorance. And Timira, it literally means darkness. Or you can say the cataract. Sometimes it's translated as cataract. Or otherwise you can say that it is darkness, severe darkness, so much dark that you can't see your own hand. And people who have a cataract or are developing cataract, they know the difficulty. What darkness is. Like I'm having cataract, I've developed cataract, and therefore when I'm reading, I struggle to read. I have to blink my eyes, I look at an angle, only then I can read the letters. Otherwise, even when I'm taking darshan pictures, by and large, it is not my eyes which are taking darshan pictures, but it's my fingers, because I'm used to taking darshan pictures, therefore I take darshan pictures and post them. So the cataract makes the eye blind, darkness. So I'm waiting for the operation. So therefore, till then, I'm in, my focus becomes out of focus many a time. And so Timira Andhasya, who becomes blind, and therefore, what does a guru do? Jnananjana, the ointment of spiritual knowledge. With that ointment, Shalakaya. Shalakaya is the torch. So with that ointment of spiritual knowledge, it opens us the torch so that the darkness is dissipated. And not only that, Unmilitamena, that is, he opens our eyes. He literally opens our eyelids so that we come out of darkness. And this is what is meant for the human life. In other life, we do not have this opportunity to come out of the darkness. And therefore we have that famous understanding or the verse which is the tamaso asatoma sadgamaya tamasoma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amrutagamaya. So therefore from asat, from the temporary world, take me to sat, to eternality. From ignorance to the light illumination. And from mrityorma amrutagamaya, from mortality to immortality. So who can do that? This can be done by only a spiritual master. So therefore Prabhupada says, he opened my eyes which were blinded by the darkness of ignorance. It is not by time, as here says that the translation is that covering is not destroyed by the influence of time. With the time, that does not disappear. With experience, also it does not disappear. We think that, well, people gain experience, therefore they'll not commit the same mistake. No. Even after experiencing, still they commit the same mistake if they are not given the knowledge. We can take the classical example of one extreme where Stephen Hawking, he went through, I think, extraordinary pain in his life. He knew something about Vedic literature, because he did say in his final moment that I do not believe in the previous birth. So that was his statement. So even though he was going through such pain, he did not say that, at least at that stage, he could have said that, well, there is something beyond the normal situation. There is a powerful agency or the Lord. Therefore, if he had said that, he would have made so many atheists into theists, because there are thousands who follow or millions who follow Stephen Hawking. And with that, he would have had a better life in the next life. But even at that stage, he did not say that Lord exists. Whereas somebody born in Vedic culture, we take the other extreme example where from Ramayana, Indrajit, after he lost almost the battle because he comes back to his father Ravana, and then Ravana asks him, how is that your powerful weapons were destroyed by Lakshmana? Because then Indrajit says that no one knows a secret for killing my weapons. But then he says, Ravana says that did the Devatas inform the secret for killing or nullifying your weapons? Then Indrajit says, no one needs to tell Lakshman, because Lakshman is Devonka Deva. He is the Lord of the Lords, or the Lord of the Devatas. So therefore, he knows everything. So at the time when he is about to be defeated completely, he realizes that the opponent is not an ordinary person, but the Lord himself. Whereas Stephen Hawking, he was about to be defeated completely, but even at that stage, he did not realize that he has done something in the past life. There is a higher force, and therefore he needs to surrender. So that's the difference between somebody born in Vedic culture who gets that knowledge, or who comes in contact with Vedic culture who gets the knowledge, to someone who lives in ignorance, and therefore even after going through the painful situations or turbulences in life, does not realize, does not understand that there is a higher force. And so here we find that when Gajendra realizes that he has done his battle, now he can't do anything other than offering his humble prayers to the Supreme Lord. And this is what is called humility. Humility implies dependence on the Supreme Lord, dependence on the spiritual master. Tasma sarveshu kaleshu mama anusmara yudhyacha. So there, tasma sarveshu kaleshu, always remember me while doing your duty, it means that you depend on me while performing your duty. And that comes only from humility. And we get the example, I think there is that interesting debate which takes place between Śrīpāda Rāmanujacārya and Yajñamurti. I think anyone knows this pastime? Yajñamurti was a famous scholar of Shankara's philosophy in those days. We are dating back some 1200 years back, 1000 to 1200 years back. That's when Śrīpāda Rāmanujacārya performed his pastimes. And Yajñamurti was, he won the debates all over, and he claimed that no one can defeat him. Like Hiranyaksha, he said, no one can defeat me. Then he was said, well, there is one opponent you can face him, and that's the Supreme Lord. Go and fight with him. So similarly, Yajñamurti was told, well, if you want to really claim yourself to be the person, then debate with Śrīpāda Rāmanujacārya. He says, why not? So he carries his books and then reaches Srirangam. And then he blows his conch shell, implying that, well, I've come here for a debate, and I want to debate with you on philosophy. And in Vedic culture, whenever they debate, they always wage, okay, what is the dice like? You say, what is the price? So therefore, Yajñamurti says that if I lose, I'll embrace your philosophy. And Śrīpāda Rāmanujacārya says that if I lose, I'll leave monastery. Because he was a sannyas, he was heading the monastery, he said, I'm going to leave the monastery. So that was the battle between them. Now, why we need to understand this battle is that there is a lot of commonality between the monism, or what Shankaracharya preaches, to what the Vaishnavas preach. And therefore here they said that for 18 days we'll debate. And at the end of the 18th day, the winner will be declared. For the first 16 days, both were equally balanced. So Śrīpāda Rāmanujacārya was quoting from Vaishnava scriptures, or scriptures which deals with personalism, whereas Yajñamurti was arguing on the strength of impersonalism. Both were equally powerful. Both were not losing the battle. First 16 days have gone by. 17th day, Yajñamurti took an upper hand. Although it was impersonalism, but still he took an upper hand. And Yajñamurti said, well, I'll leave the battle today. Let's conclude tomorrow. So with a lot of pride, he leaves the debate. And Śrīpāda Rāmanujacārya became despondent. He says, I'm not able to prove the personality of Godhead, and I'm going to lose the battle. So he cried. He said, I can't do anything. It's like Gajendra, I'm fighting, I've fought for 1,000 years, I'm not able to do anything. So equally Śrīpāda Rāmanujacārya said that I'm not able to do anything. I'm about to lose this debate. And then he prays to Lord Ranganath that if I lose this, it is not my loss, it is your loss. Because you are a personality, and I'm not able to prove your personality to Yajñamurti. Then the Lord appears in his dream and says that you take the books of Yamunacharya, your guru's guru, and that will give you the answer. So therefore, he opens the book of Yamunacharya, he knows the philosophy from Yamunacharya, and the next day, Rāmanujacārya walks like a lion towards the podium. And Yagnamurti, he sees Śrīpad Ramanujacharya. He says, what has happened to Śrīpad Ramanujacharya? Yesterday he was a losing front, and today we find that he walks like a lion towards the debate center. And even without debating, Yagnamurti surrenders to the personality of Śrīpad Ramanujacharya. Because he sees the luster, he sees the personality of Śrīpad Ramanujacharya, and he says that, well, I cannot debate with you. I have lost my battle, and he falls at his feet. And he embraces the philosophy of Sri Vaishnavism. So what it means is that our eyes need to be opened by the spiritual master. As we find here, Om Ajnana Prabhupada say that although one may struggle for existence in the material world, to live forever is impossible. We may think that when we want to live eternally, science says that, well, we create cryogenic centers or rooms where your body will be preserved for how long we do not know, but they say that it's going to preserve for till such time where the science can bring back life into the dead body. But there's nothing like that in our experience, and therefore it's only a business technique that the so-called businessmen have put forth the idea, well, we are going to preserve your body. You are a rich person, here is the cryogenic center, we'll preserve your body, and one day in the future, your body will become alive. So one must understand that the struggle for existence is due to ignorance, that is what is avidya, for otherwise every living being is an eternal part of the Supreme Lord. There is no need to live as an elephant or man, American or Indian. One should desire only to achieve liberation from the cycle of birth and death. So this is what Gajendra is praying in this prayer, that I do not want to live, I do not want to live now, or I do not want to live in next life, amuya. But what I want is that eternity, that I want to regain back that body where there is no birth, no death, no old age, no disease. Because of ignorance, we consider every life within this material world, from the life of Brahma to from the life of Brahma down to that of an ant, no one can actually be happy. A wise man knows that he cannot be happy. Which is the verse which talks about this in Bhagavad Gita? Chapter 5. Text 22. An intelligent person does not take part in the source of misery which are due to contact with the material senses. O son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and an end, and so the wise man does not delight in them. So from ignorance, how can we become a wise man? It is only by the grace of a spiritual master. So, what does a guru teach? The spiritual knowledge. We have some songs. I think I'll not go through this song, but I'll just go pick up one or two songs, that too one or two verses from there. One is called the Arunodaya Kirtana, where the song Jivana Anitya Janasar Tahe Nana Vidha Vipada Bhar Namashaya Kori Jatane Tumi Taka Apane Kaje. This temporary life is full of various miseries. Take shelter of the holy name as your only business. So therefore, Prabhupada has brought to us the Sampradaya, and then we are asked to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So in that seventh verse, Jivera Kalyana Sadhana Kam Jagate Asiye Madhura Nam Avidya Timira Tapana Rupe Hridagagane Viraje. To penetrate the darkness of ignorance and bless everyone's heart, the holy name has risen like the shining sun. Then we have in the prayers of Ohe Vaishnava Thakura, Chaye Bega Domi Chaya Dosha Sodi, Chaya Guna Deho Dase, Chaya Satsanga Deho He Hamare, Bose Chi Sangera Ase. This is the second verse. Teach me to control my six passions, rectify my six faults, bestow upon me the six qualities, and offer unto me the six kinds of holy association. Krishne se tomara, Krishne dito paro, tomara shakati ache, amito kangal, Krishna Krishna boli, dai tavak pache pache. Krishna is yours, you have the power to give him to me. I am simply your servant, running behind you shouting, Krishna, Krishna. So therefore, it's the spiritual master, he has Krishna in his heart, and therefore he'll be able to give us Krishna. And that begins our journey on the path of Krishna consciousness. But otherwise, time is not going to help us understand that with the translation, that covering is not destroyed by the influence of time. I can give my own example, which I had said earlier also, that in Hyderabad, from where I hail from, the temple, Radha Madan Mohan temple, is about 2.5 kilometers. It's on the main road of what is called Abbots. Abbots is the prime locality in Hyderabad. And on the left side of the road is Radha Madan Mohan temple. And every day morning, I would go up to Radha Madan Mohan temple. Exactly opposite Radha Mohan temple is a lane. So I would take the right lane. I would take the right turn to leave my son Abhishek and daughter Sweta in their school and then come back home. Every day I would do the same thing. Morning 8 o'clock, I would drop them, come up to Radha Madan Mohan temple, but never took a left turn. Always took the right turn and dropped kids and then came back home. The left turn I took only after coming to Melbourne. Till then, the left turn did not take place. Although I've become the life member of Radha Madan Mohan temple, but I never took the left turn. I took the left turn only on Janmashtami because they would bypass the queue and give us prasadam. So therefore we said, okay, at least on Janmashtami, let's go to Radha Madan Mohan temple, go to temple and take the prasadam, come back. But never took the left turn. So therefore, the association of devotees is so important that they play a vital role in our life to bring us towards Krishna, to help us remain on the boat of Krishna consciousness. Yeah? So therefore, we are making so many plans to live happily, but there cannot be any happiness in this material world. However, we may try to make a permanent settlement in this life or that or in the future. So therefore, it is, and hence we find any turbulences in coming in our life should be taken as a blessing, as a mercy of the Lord, and therefore teach us that this is a part of material life. If you want happiness, that true happiness is only not here, but in Parandham, in the spiritual world. Or so long you are in Krishna consciousness, whether you are here or there or anywhere, we are connected with Krishna, so therefore that becomes the Parandham, or that becomes Vrindavan. Yeah, with this I think it's 8:55, we'll stop here take up any questions or any comment from anyone. Any question, any comment from anyone? Yes, Prabhu.
I'm teaching the religious class for kids.
Sorry, what class?
Religious class.
Okay.
For kids. Now, this kind of curse that you mentioned in the beginning of the lecture, so how we can explain to the children more scientifically so that they understand it. What's the meaning of curse, and then they get some kind of birth in their next life, and then due to the mercy of Krishna, our Lord, they got the emancipation again. So how we can explain this one to our children? What's the meaning of curse? So it sounds to me, if we can explain this one, it is one kind of rule. Okay, so they are very powerful, the sages. As for example, when we look in the British period of India, the sudmark, sudmark means if you touch somebody, so you lose your caste. So this kind of thing is so prominent and ruled by Brahmins that people are outcast from society. You understand what I'm saying?
No, the last part I didn't understand.
What I'm saying that, say, if somebody is doing against the normal tradition of society, they are outcasted by the Brahmins. So it was happened 100 years back when I saw our grandmothers, they also followed the same kind of thing. But now this disappeared. So if we look at this aspect, the curse that written in our scriptures, that due to the Gajendra has born, then this Kumira has born. So how we can explain to our children?
What is the age of children, Prabhu?
Sorry?
What is the age of children you are talking?
From 5 to 15.
Where is our kid here? Yeah, we have kids here.
Yeah.
They are taught the pastime. They are told about the story, the curse. They do understand. We think that they do not understand, but they do understand. When you tell them that, look, if you do something bad, you will have to bear with it. You will get the result for it. For example, you take the finger of the baby towards the fire. The finger burns. It's a reaction. If you take that is the sin. Fire is a sin at that point of time, that you take the finger towards the fire, then your finger burns. So it means that if you do something wrong, you will get the result for it. Or any example we can think of? Any example, Prabhu?
Maybe we can tell about the Newton's third law, that every reaction has
5 years child. 5 years child will not understand Newton's law.
every action has its equal opposite reaction. But when you are talking about this kind of rebirth or something in a different body or different shape, say if you look at King Parikshit's one, a small child, he put the curse on him that he will be died by the Takshuk snake. So how you can explain that one?
My simple understanding is, you tell the pastime as it is, the child understands. Because you don't have to give any don't give your own interpretation. You simply narrate, because this is I'm seeing with my granddaughter. She is only 2 years, 3 months, or 2 years, 4 months. My daughter, she narrates to her the pastimes from Krishna's book. Now, the baby is also coming on Thursday in the temple. Upstairs we have their classes going on. Every Thursday, Sri Yashoda Mataji is conducting the classes. And who are all the kids? The kids are from 2 years to 5 years. And Mataji picks up the Krishna book and recites the pastime. and she shows them how the pastime happens, so therefore some bodily gestures, and children do pick up. It's
Sorry?
not that they do not pick up, they do pick up. It's not, we don't pick up, but they pick up very well. So you can recite the pastime as it is in a prayerful mood. Do not say, well, I'm reciting the pastime, but pray to Krishna and recite it naturally in that prayerful mood. You will realize, and the babies also realizes, or the children also will realize. You'll be amazed to see that. You tell this pastime, and then after 2 weeks you ask them, the children will recite to you pastime. Now, the realization, does the adult also realize the pastime? Forget about the kids. How many adults can realize the pastimes?
Yeah, that's the very important part, yeah. So, because we are convoluted with Western education, then materialism, all these things, that's why it is very hard for us to accept. But when you go into maybe devotional kind of atmosphere, all the question may disappear. So that issue our children is not getting, this kind of aspect is not getting our children, because they are going to school and they are learning different things.
See, before we talk about children, let us talk about ourselves. Have we understood?
No, that I am saying, since we haven't understood,
So therefore there's a
so
difficulty.
then we cannot convey the message to our children properly, that I am saying.
So therefore, bring your children to those parents or those teachers in the temple who have to an extent understood these pastimes nicely, and they are able to tell these pastimes. Therefore, as adults we understand, because that's what the role of a teacher. And the children also understand.
Yeah, so then if you look at this aspect of understanding the pastime, so we have to take the philosophy of the message. Yeah, so not the anecdotes or events that happened, because if you look into that aspect, in modern time, it is not realistic.
Sorry?
In modern time, this kind of pastime is not realistic.
Why do you say that?
Realistic in the sense that we cannot prove it.
Why? How do you say that you can't prove
How
it?
we can prove that Krishna was born so he manifested himself as Vishnu, and then he was born, and then he was carried to Mother Yashoda, and then Mother Yashoda also gave birth to Ma Durga, and then he came to this.
See,
So
the
this kind of
knowledge
thing-
we receive, as Prabhupada says, there are 3 ways of receiving the knowledge.
Yeah.
One is by the seeing, that the other is by inference, and the third is by hearing. So therefore, we think that only seeing is important, and therefore that gives the knowledge. But in the Vedic understanding, that gives you incorrect or incomplete understanding. Just as with the vision's eyes you can understand, you can see, it's not that you do not see what things are. To an extent you can understand, but it's got its own limitation because the senses are imperfect. So therefore, the perfection comes only when you hear from a Acharya who is coming in the disciplic succession. So therefore, what Prabhupada says, within ISKCON, everyone accepts it without questioning. Why? Because people have that faith in what Srila Prabhupada is saying, that Srila Prabhupada is not going to say anything which he has not heard from his own spiritual master or in the disciplic succession. And Prabhupada therefore gives in Bhagavad Gita the disciplic succession back to Krishna. If you see, I think, page number, I don't remember in Bhagavad Gita, one of the pages you find in the introduction page, the disciplic succession is given. So you must ask, if somebody is telling you a pastime, from where did he or she hear that pastime? Is it their own concoction or they have heard from their teacher? If that's the case, then who is their teacher? And then who is their teacher? And then who is their teacher? And ultimately, who is the teacher? And that gives you the faith, that gives you the conviction. And with that conviction, Shraddha, we start our journey in Krishna consciousness.
Now the question is that if you look at the Vedic teaching is asking questions and answering. So you are talking about Guru Parampara, is that? So the disciple asks questions and the preceptor answers the question. So that is the thing. So it does mean that also this teaching method emphasizes don't believe blindly or don't put faith blindly, ask questions. And then Guru answers, as you were saying that this parampara, Guru, who is the answer? So that is also the valid method of teaching. That is in modern society is called Socrates method, because Socrates also taught like that in Greek time. So it doesn't mean that we have to keep the faith all the time. We might have this oscillation in our mind, in children's mind, because they are also collecting information from the outside sources. At the same time, they have also their samskara. They have the prarabdha karma. So if you look at chapter 17 of Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna is asking, we also asked the same question to Bhakta Prabhu last lesson, that Krishna is asking, he was talking about the faith, that, Arjuna asked Krishna that if somebody prays to God with conviction, but don't follow the scripture, what will happen? Then Sri Krishna's answer was that this faith or conviction comes from the previous birth. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. Continue.
Yeah. So then, so if this is true, then question is asking, naturally question come, doubt can come, because you have this purva samskara. That's why. So we are here because we might have the good purva samskara, that's why we are here to be enlightened through this kind of bhakti or spirituality. That's why we gather here. But not everybody is so fortunate, because they have the purva samskara. Also, Veda also says same thing, that children, they have their own nature of learning, and the guru has the preceptor has the duty to expose this kind of inner resources so that they can expose it. That's the guru's. Guru means guru, you know that. So uncover ignorance. So this kind of doubt and confusion is very natural, and this question is. So if you tell that everybody has to put faith, otherwise he will not learn the lesson, then the Vedic teaching is not very well justified, because the question and answer.
Okay, we'll take the...
Yeah.
Grandharaj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vanchakalpatarobhyascha krupa sindhubhya eva cha, patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So, Hari Bol, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yes, Prabhu, now you can continue. We have, officially the session is closed. Now I can answer your questions. Yeah, now we can answer your questions, because class time is over, so therefore I did not want to prolong. So now you can ask the question.
I ask the question.
Yeah, the faith comes from, it is not faith, actually it is Shraddha, inclination or interest. The interest in spirituality comes either through difficulties in life. When you are facing difficulties, then you try to question yourself, why am I facing this difficulty? What is the reason? Somebody is born, it's an inquisitiveness or an intellectual discussion. Why somebody is beautiful, why somebody is ugly, why somebody is poor, why somebody is rich, why somebody is handsome, why somebody is intelligent, why somebody is dumb. So these questions are asked only by intellectuals, not ordinary persons. You ask an ordinary person, he does not understand. So therefore, when you try to get answers to some of these questions, automatically you find that faith develops. So faith is not overnight, okay, just like that it happens. There are incidences, there is experience of yourself. You can ask yourself, why is that I'm bound to my parents and I'm like this, and why others are like whatever it is. Like I said, Stephen, even when he was passing through the difficulty, he did not understand anything because he was not fortunate to come in contact with a purified soul. But someone who comes in contact with a pure soul will understand that. That's so they at that time, it's not faith, it's not a blind faith, it's a realized faith. Like in Yagnamurti, when he saw Srila Ramanujacharya, he said that it's out of faith that he surrendered. He has seen in Swami Ramanujacharya. Yeah.
That is important. That is still in our no blindness.
Yeah.
That should be really okay. That is the foundation of belief.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Aribu, I remember now you are. Today we have the session, isn't it? Or today?
July.
Oh, July 20. Aribu. Aribu.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanstam Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Svam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanitanscha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,